Very good evening, all of you. Today we will start our lecture about gymnosperm. So, in our previous lectures, we already completed successfully about three cryptogams, that is Thallophyta, Bryophyta, and Pteridophyta. Today, the topic of discussion is a phanerogam, which is a gymnosperm. So this phanerogam in some aspect is not that improved like angiosperm, but if you compare it with the most developed cryptogam, that is Pteridophyta, you can find that it is like developed in many terms. So in today's lecture, the learning objectives will be understanding phanerogams, and in phanerogams, what are gymnosperm? What are general characteristics of gymnosperm? How gymnosperm differ from angiosperm? So we will talk obviously from the point of view of characteristic features, reproduction, as well as the economic importance. So gymnosperms are falling under phanerogams. The main difference between phanerogams and cryptogams is presence of flower. In case of phanerogams, I told you phanero and gamous, decorative marriage. In both the cases, flower or flower-like structures are formed. In gymnosperm, the seeds are formed, but these seeds are naked. These seeds are not at all covered inside the fruit. जैसे हमें देखने की आदत है, मैंगो की seed is present inside the fruit of mango. It's not the case that is found in case of gymnosperm. So basically, why seeds are naked? Because the ovules are naked. When we will study in detail about reproduction, you will know that seeds are nothing but modified ovules, and ovary modified to form the fruit. So seeds are naked because in case of gymnosperm, ovary is absent. So then where ovules are located? Ovules are practically located on a specialized leaf called megasporophyll. Megasporophylls are leaf-like structure on which ovules are there. So that's why they are not enclosed in fruit. So we can call them phanerogams without ovary.
मैम
Yes, beta.
मैम ओवरी के बिना ओव्यूल्स कैसे मतलब बनेंगे?
ओवरी के बिना भी ओव्यूल्स हो सकते हैं ना. They are attached to the surface of the leaf. In them, this is the structure only. So here are the examples. जैसे पाइनस, इसमें देखो, this is the strobili. Okay. ये जो woody structures आप देख रहे हो ना, each of them are megasporophyll. Here also strobili is present, but it is having a different structure. Now on the surface of these leaves, the ovule is present better. Understood?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So here are a few more examples of like gymnosperms. You can see Cedrus, Araucaria. This is the famous Christmas tree. And in Zamia, it's used a lot as an ornamental plant. Ephedra is very much famous for its medicinal properties. Thuja, हम अगर like I can tell you in West Bengal, sea coasts are filled with this type of plant. This is called thuja. Okay, and this is a xerophytic gymnosperm. Welwitschia mirabilis. So gymnosperms are comparatively small group of plants, and as per this data of 2015, it is having 70 genera and 725 species. Okay. Why they have less number? Because generally they are distributed temperate and tropical region. Actually, they originated in Paleozoic era, and if you see that, I told you in Jurassic Park movie, if you see, predominantly you can see this type of plants because that condition suited best for their evolution and their distribution. But as dinosaurs are extinct now, many primitive gymnosperms are now extinct. For example, here you can see that Cycadophilicales and Bennettitails and Cordiatails, all of these are coming under the extinct gymnosperm. So you can see the fossil of gymnosperm. So this is what is the biological scale or geological time scale. You can see that in Paleozoic era, the number of species was maximum. Okay. Now let us talk about the gymnosperms we can see now around us. Generally, they are evergreen trees or shrubs. Evergreen tree means, what do we mean by evergreen and deciduous, beta? Any idea, anyone? Two types of plants are there, deciduous and evergreen. Have you ever heard about them?
Yes, ma'am.
What are they, beta? Do you want me to tell what are they? See, evergreen plants are the plants who doesn't shed their leaves, all leaves together. That means in plants, the leaves grow old, they are shedded, but at the same time, new leaves are produced. So if you look into that plant, you can never see that a plant is without a leaf. It will have some leaf present in it. Although it is old leaves are getting shaded and new leaves are formed. But in case of deciduous plant, let me write down the spelling so that it will be easy for you to understand. Deciduous.
मैम
Yes, beta.
कॉनिफरस भी होते हैं ना?
हाँ, coniferous is different. मतलब why we call them coniferous? There is a different reason. Okay, coniferous. Why we call them coniferous? It's not related to shading of leaf, beta. We call them coniferous because they are having cone shape.
Yes, ma'am.
Deciduous plants shed all leaves annually. Generally, this is like in the winter season, they actually shed all their leaves. And if you look into that plant, you will see only the stem is present. This is a way, actually, the plant is not dying. It's a way to stop wastage of energy during the specific season. They remain dormant at that stage. They don't want to spend much energy on photosynthesis and all other activities. That's why they do. At the onset of autumn, again the leaves come back into the plant. Okay, so these gymnosperms are not deciduous; they are always evergreen. And as your friend told that they are coniferous. Coniferous means if you look into them, we all like at the childhood we all draw the Christmas tree in the form like this. इसके ऊपर एक star रहता है. We know all of them. So this structure, this cone structure is the name, reason for calling them coniferous. Okay, it is the reason for calling them coniferous. Now, these plants exhibit xerophytic characters. Xerophytic means they can live without water. Now, one question may come like in your mind that, man, they are not desert plant. Then why they have this xerophytic character? Because beta at very low temperature, water turn into ice. And generally the mountain region, the mountains are not always made up of soil. They have rocks. So water scarcity is there. So this xerophytic character is there because they don't want to grow in desert, but they want to grow in the region where presence of water is scarce. It is low in amount. Okay. So they manage themselves in low water containing areas also. Is it clear, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So now the plant is sporophyte. This plant, the green plant that we can see is sporophyte and it is diploid. The body is differentiated into root, stem and leaves. And the plant possesses well-developed vascular system, that is xylem and phloem. You can see the cross section of the stem. These are the vascular bundle where xylem and phloem is visible, quite evident. So many a times it is observed that roots of these gymnosperms have symbiotic association of fungi. In fungi part, when we were discussing about 5-kingdom classification, we discussed about the coralloid root, isn't it? So you can see that this is the example of coralloid root. This is the example of correlation of the root, coral-like structure formation. In cycas plant, due to like presence of nostoc and anabina, nitrogen fixation is done, and so plant is getting benefited by the fixed nitrogen of this organisms, and these organisms, this algae like nostoc and anabina, which are blue-green algae, get benefit of having a shelter. Okay, so this is a symbiotic relationship forming coralloid root. Apart from that, there is another fungi that can be associated with the pinus root. It is known as mycorrhiza. Can you see this white cottony growth in the root?
Yes, ma'am.
It is also known as VAM. It is also known as VAM. The full form of VAM is vascular arbuscular mycorrhiza. So what is this vascular arbuscular mycorrhiza? Mycorrhiza is a fungus, and it is responsible for this cottony growth. It helps in absorption of minerals. It increases the surface area of the root and help in the absorption of minerals. So you can see this type of special association in gymnosperm roots with fungi and cyanobacteria. Let's move ahead. Generally, the stem is erect and branched. In some cases, the stem can be unbranched. For example, here you can see this is the cycas plant, which is quite evidently seen in many of the parks. This is used a lot as a decorative plant. आप में से देखा है किसी ने cycas?
Yes, ma'am.
So in Ahmedabad, any of the parks have them?
मैम वो रिवर फ्रंट साइड है.
Great. तो देखो अगली बार जो लोग रिवर फ्रंट जाएंगे, I wish all of you to see. See, this chapter can be learned very nicely, beta, if you can have a close look into the what I can say, the structure of the plants. This is the chapter not to be studied with your books, pens, and papers. You need to go out and look into different types of plant. It will enrich your knowledge. So that's why I try my best to add so many photographs in my PPTs, so many videos, because we are blocked to our surrounding world due to COVID, but you can have a virtual trip to the different part of the plant kingdom. So in case of plants, the leaf scar is a prominent character. Here too you can see only. Here also at the background, can you see some thorn-like structures?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are nothing but leaf scars. Here there is a enlarged image of the skin. So it's having leaf scars. Scar means the ghav. So these are these dots, these circles are the places where leaves once upon a time was there, and now the leaves are shaded, so it has the scar present in there. Okay, so leaves are two types. One is foliage leaf and scale leaf. Scale leaf are the needle-like leaf. And they are very much minute and they are deciduous, they fall down. And foliage leaf are green. They are also thin but needle-like, but they are actually thicker than the scale leaves. And they are pinnately compound. Now this pinnately compound is a terminology which is new to you. See, in a leaf margin, if leaves are arranged like this, we call them pinnate leaf. This arrangement is called pinnate arrangement. Okay. Now, what is this compound? See, generally we can see a leaf like this, isn't it? With a big, this is called leaf lamina, and this is the petiole. In some cases, this big leaf is lamina is broken down into small leaflets. In such cases, we call the leaf as compound leaf. Compound leaf have, these are called leaflets. They are not leaf, they are leaflets. बड़ी सी एक लीफ हुआ करती थी यहाँ पे, नहीं इट्स हुआ करती थी मतलब लीफ होना चाहिए था. It's not like हुआ करती थी and then they modify. They are like that. This type of leaves are called compound leaf, where they don't have a single leaf. The single leaf is broken down into small leaflets. Don't worry, we will deal about this part once again in the chapter number 5, that is morphology of angiosperm. Is this part clear? What do we mean by compound leaf? So
Yes,
simple
yes.
leaf have leaf and compound leaf have leaf broken into small leaflets. So as they need to adjust themselves into xeric condition, that is xerophytic condition, leaves have thick cuticle layer on their surface and the stomata is sunken. Sunken means it is deep seated stomata. Why they need to have a sunken stomata, beta? Can anyone guess? Why this cuticle layer and sunken stomata? Yes, Ayushi?
Ma'am, cuticle layer helps to come the leaf in direct contact with sun, so it reduce the evaporation, and sunken stomata also help to reduce the loss of water.
Very good. Very good. In case of, I told you while I was teaching about sarcinate venation, that cycus shows sarcinate venation. This is the sarcinate venation is something which is exhibited in pteridophytes also. So if any question is coming as if compare the pteridophytes and this one gymnosperm, you can say the similarity is sarcinate venation. Okay. So let us talk about the internal part. If you take a cross section of the leaf, uh, leaf cross section shows quite well differentiated cells. You can see two types of tissue over here. These long tissues are called palisade, parenchyma, and the spherical parts are called spongy parenchyma. So that is called sponge. Okay. Now, this is the vascular bundle where xylem and phloem is present. So you can see by the cross section itself that how undifferentiated plants, due to course of evolution, evolved into a plant which is quite differentiated, which has only leaf tissue. If you take a cross section, such variation of cells are observed. Okay, so in case of cycas, as they have scarcity of water, they have for translocation of nutrient. Translocation means it is a process where food is transferred from a storage place to the different body part. So for this translocation, they have transfusion tissue, which is a specialized tissue present. So these red arrows are marking towards the cells of transfusion tissue. They are specially there for transfer of food from storage part to the different parts of the plant. Roots are diart to polyart, means this is the types of root. There are presence of tanniferous cells in the cortex. Tanniferous cells are tannin producing cell. Tannins are secondary metabolites, or I can say alkaloid chemicals secreted by plants. These tannins are of economic importance, and we will discuss definitely about different economically important gymnosperms later on. The vascular bundles are collateral and open. So these terminologies I know are new to you. Open means, open vascular bundle means they have the cambium. In between xylem and phloem, they have the cambium. Presence of cambium ensures that secondary growth is there. I told you that secondary growth is about thickening of the stem. So this growth is there in case of these type of plants. Xylem is having tracheids and parenchyma. Vessels are absent in xylem. But in some gymnosperms like Netum, even vessels are present. So we can say gymnosperms have all components of xylem, and in case of phloem, companion cell is absent. Okay. You can see the monoxylic and pycnoxylic wood. It depends on the xylem materials presence. Any doubts regarding the vascular tissues? Class?
मैम
Yes, beta.
आपने सेकेंडरी ग्रोथ में क्या बोला? आप एक बार फिर से रिपीट करो ना.
Secondary growth is a part. First of all, let me tell you, don't worry. See, when we are studying a chapter, no beta, we will come across various terminologies that are very new, and it is very difficult for me to describe that thing whole and soul in this lecture. Okay. So secondary growth altogether, we will be requiring 1 or 2 lectures to make you understand. So I am just giving you a brief idea that it is conducted by cambium. Okay. Cambium is a
Okay,
tissue.
ma'am.
If it is present in vascular bundle, we like tell the vascular bundle type open. If it is not present, we tell it is a closed type of vascular bundle. The basic, what I can say, characteristics of cambium is it is responsible for increasing the girth of the stem. Matlab, what is the girth? Stem, if it is like cylindrical structure, it increase the diameter of that cylinder. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
आप देखते हो that young plants are, the stem is not that much wide, isn't it? As it grows, the stem gets wide. So this type of growth, फिर उसमें wood formation होता है. All these are attributed by the secondary growth. Any other
Okay,
doubts,
ma'am.
beta? Anyone? Feel free to ask doubts, beta. No problem if you don't understand.
Ma'am,
Yes, beta.
ma'am, can you just say what is monoxylic and
It depends on the see, you can say that monoxylic and pycnoxylic is like it is the classification of wood depending on presence of xylem material.
okay, ma'am.
Actually, let me tell you from the image you will be able to understand what is the difference you yourself can see from between monoxylic and pycnoxylic wood. Tell me.
Ma'am, structural difference.
But like these bubbles are nothing but xylem. So now you try and see this dark.
Ma'am,
Yes, beta.
मैम मोनोजाइलिक में वो ट्रैकिट्स का जो वो पाथ है वो थोड़ा पतला है और मैम पिक्नोजाइलिक में पूरा ही ट्रैकिट्स जैसा दिख रहा है.
That means the gaps are not there. Isn't it? It is more compact. That is what is the difference between monoxylic and pycnoxylic wood. Monoxylic wood is not compact because in between the xylem, lot many parenchyma layer is present. Wherein pycnoxylic, the wood is compact one, and it is a hard wood because xylem material is what I can say, compactly arranged. Yes, beta.
मैम
Yes.
ये जो ट्रैकिट्स के बीच में जो व्हाइट व्हाइट स्पेसेस है
That is
मोनोजाइलिक वुड में,
parenchyma. That is parenchyma.
मैम इंटरसेल्यूलर गैप्स तो होंगी ना सेल्स के बीच में.
Generally, tracheids are having lot many depositions around them, beta. So intercellular gaps are rare in between them because they need to be connected with each other for transmission of water.
Okay, ma'am.
और मैम पिक्नोजाइलिक में मतलब पैरेंट का मटेरियल इतना नहीं होता है
इतना नहीं
पैकेज
होता,
के
इट
बीच में।
इज मोर कॉम्पैक्टली पैक्ड xylem.
ओके मैम।
So can we move ahead with your due permission?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So plants are always heterosporous. Here there is no story of homosporous plants. And megasporangium is produced on megasporophyll. The megasporangium is a structure which is produced on megasporophyll, and microsporangium is produced on microsporophyll. So what are these sporangium? They are sacs where actually the spores will be produced. We don't have single sporophyll here. Sporophylls are combined to form cones or strobili, and the cones or strobili are monosporangiate. Matlab, each sporophyll will have one sporangium. These are strobili of different types of gymnosperm. You can see it. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes ma'am.
If you are going to any kind of hill station, no, especially I am very lucky. I am from West Bengal. The areas of North Bengal, they are full of this type of plants. And if you go to the seashore, you can find thuja, which is another gymnosperm. So I have a good collection of these cones at my place because some of them are so woody. You can store them for years; they don't get degraded. So let us talk more about the male cones are generally short-lived, but the female cones can live for many years. Okay, so you can see this one is the soft female male cone, and this is the hard female cone. Okay.
मैम
Yes, beta.
मैम तो फीमेल कोन के स्ट्रक्चर में या फिर ऐसा कुछ होता है जो उन्हें मतलब लॉन्ग लिव बनाता है?
Because they are woody, beta. They are woody. They are the sporophylls that is present are woody.
तो मैम वो वैसा मेल्स में क्यों नहीं होता?
Because it's not required. Females need to carry the embryo, no? Males need to only produce the gametes.
हाँ, okay मैम.
Okay, now microsporangias are formed on the abaxial side of megasporophyll. Abaxial side means the inner side of the megasporophyll. Means if this is the leaf of a cone, at this side there will be presence of the sporangium. It's not present in the outer side. Okay. Now they are eusporangiate. Already we know the difference between eusporangiate and leptosporangiate. We discussed it yesterday. Okay. Female cones are formed by aggregate of megasporophyll, and megasporophyll may be foliar or colline. It may be leaf-like in cycas or colline, that is the hard one. And megasporangium is known as ovule. As you know that in this case no ovary is there, so the megasporangium is ovule. Ovules are orthotropous. This is the orthotropous ovule structure. This is how it looks. When we will talk about gymnosperm, and especially in grade 12, we will learn about the angiosperm. You will know more about the ovule. So it has only one covering, that's why unitegme. But integument, the outer covering, is differentiated into 3 layers. So you can see in case of cycas, the megasporophyll is foliar. I told you leaf-like, and in pinus you can see it is colline, woody types. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the microspores are liberated at the different stages of gametophyte. Here, the male gametes are non-motiles. Only in case of cycas and ginkgo, the male gametes are motile, and number of archegonia also varies from plant to plant. So you can see this is the sperm of ginkgo and cycas. This is the electron microscopic image. So this is the archegonium, where a single egg cell is there and ventral canal cell is there. Okay, so you can see this is the structure of ovule beta. This is the, don't look into the like detailed structure, but through this pore, which is called micropyle, the sperm enters and then it fertilizes the egg. So the pollination is by wind. That's why it's called anemophily. Pollens are deposited. They have a pollen chamber, which is this part. It is deposited in the wet pollen chamber, and the fertilization is some siphonogamy. What happens is, as soon as the pollen is deposited in this chamber, there is a formation of a tube which penetrates inside the ovule, and it carries the sperms present inside it to fertilize the egg cell. Okay, so pollen tube acts as a carrier of the sperm. So embryo development similar to angiosperm, it is meroblastic, because embryo is completely developed from the some part of zygote. Endosperm is present. What is the role of endosperm? See, the most important highlight I wish to mention here, in case of gymnosperm, the endosperm is the tissue which is responsible for nutrition of the embryo. Plants do have their nutrition from where? What is the source of nutrition for plants? Class?
From xylem tissue.
Nutrition क्या है plant का? From where they get their food material?
Autotrophic.
Very good. So now imagine one thing, beta. Tell me when it is present in the form of a, I can say, in the form of a tissue which doesn't have leaf, how it will derive its nutrition? Can it derive its nutrition?
What is
It will be impossible, isn't it? Leaf ही नहीं है तो photosynthesis कैसे करेगा? From where it will derive the nutrition? Am I correct or not?
मैम तो फिर तो उस प्लांट में अकेला स्टेम ही होगा ना.
अरे तब तो वो सीड है बेटा, स्टेम कहाँ से होगा?
मैम आपने जो बोला अभी वो रिपीट करो ना, नहीं समझ आया.
I say that plants are autotrophic, so they derive their nutrition from by photosynthesis, which is conducted by the leaves. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes मैम.
तो जब plant seedling form में होगा, there will be presence of leaf. Then only it can do photosynthesis. Now, when Seed, what about seeds? Seeds have leaves. Seed, have you ever seen any seed?
Yes.
Do they have leaves or elaborate structures to go for photosynthesis?
No.
No, ma'am.
Inside embryo is there which is growing. Zygote से embryo बन रहा है, embryo से plant बनने की तैयारी कर रहा है. For that they require some kind of nutrition or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Who will provide? It is provided by this endosperm. It provides nutrition to growing embryo. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So they have formation of embryo before fertilization, and endosperms for ploidy level is haploid. Okay, so double fertilization, it is a characteristics of angiosperm. When we will learn angiosperm, I will tell you what is double fertilization. Two fertilization takes place in angiosperm. Here only single fertilization takes place, and that is the characteristics of this and gymnosperm. So when anyone asks you about the difference, you can mention that endosperm is produced before fertilization and it is haploid, and fertilization is single in case of gymnosperms.
Ma'am?
So yes, beta.
मैम यहाँ पे डबल फर्टिलाइजेशन और ट्रिपल फर्टिलाइजेशन में वो इतना हाईलाइट क्यों किया है कि वो एब्सेंट है? बिकॉज मैम वो तो मतलब एक कॉमन कैरेक्टर हुआ ना कि जहाँ पे दो फ्यूजन होते हैं तो उसे हम डबल फर्टिलाइजेशन कहते हैं और नहीं होते तो
हाँ,
single
because
fertilization.
that decides well, because in angiosperm the endosperm is triploid, 3N.
Okay, ma'am.
It is one of the major difference between the gymnosperm and angiosperm. That's why it is highlighted. Now a few unique characteristics. Polyembryony. Polyembryony means inside a single seed more than one embryo development. So it is very common in case of gymnosperm. It is possible either by fertilization of one sperm by more than one egg, or it is done even if one egg is fertilized by one sperm. The zygote produced is divide to form many zygotes, and from that many embryos form. That is the characteristic possible. So polyembryony is very common in this type of plants. The seed coat is present. The integument part of the ovule is forming the seed coat. In some cases it may have winged seed. For example, आप देख सकते हो नीचे ये black वाला part is the seed and the white part is the seed wing. So this is there because this will help in the what I can say, dispersion of seeds. Seeds can be spread to a distant area via wind. The number of cotyledons may be 1, 2 or many. Generally, after production of seed go for a resting period, and distinct alternation of generation is there. Diploid sporophytic generation is there, and haploid gametophytic generation is reduced to certain extent that you cannot like actually distinguish that this is the gametophytic phase. And gametophyte is totally dependent on the sporophyte. So that is all about my presentation about characteristics of gymnosperm. Any doubts, anyone? Class?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So now the best thing that we can do is we can look into the videos, and I already kept nice videos available for you. Give me 1 sec so that I can like. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Cedrus and cycas growing in the cooler regions of India. To find trees such as pinus, cedrus, and cycas growing in the cooler regions of India. All of them are gymnosperms, a group of plants in which the ovules are not enclosed by an ovary wall and remain exposed or naked before fertilization, as well as post-fertilization when they develop into seeds. These seeds germinate to give rise to new plants. If you take a look at the morphology of gymnosperms, you will notice that most of them have tap roots. Moreover, in some genera, such as Pinus, the roots have a fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza, while in other genera, such as Cycas, small specialized roots called coralloid roots have an association with N2-fixing cyanobacteria. The stems of a gymnosperm can be branched or unbranched, and the leaves can be compound as in cycas or simple as in ginkgo. Moreover, these leaves are well adapted to withstand extreme climatic conditions as seen in balsam fir. Its needle-like leaves reduce the surface area, which in turn reduces loss of water due to transpiration. Even the thick cuticle and sunken stomata on the leaves reduce the rate of water loss. The reproductive structure of a gymnosperm is called a strobilus or a cone. And gymnosperms have both male and female strobili. Interestingly, the strobili may be born on the same tree as seen in Pinus, or on different trees as seen in Cycas. The male strobilus has spirally arranged leaf-like structures called microsporophylls, which bear microsporangia, a structure that produces haploid microspores. A few microspores develop into male gametes called pollen grains, and the rest degenerate. Another name for male strobili is microsporangia. The female strobilus is a cluster of megasporophylls which bears ovules containing the megasporangium or nucellus. The megasporangium, surrounded by a layer of envelopes, produces haploid megaspores and a megaspore mother cell which looks distinctly different from the other megaspores. The megaspore mother cell undergoes meiosis to give rise to 4 haploid megaspores. One of these spores develops into a multicellular female gametophyte. The female gametophyte further bears 2 or 3 female sex organs called archegonia, which develop inside the ovule. The development of archegonia is followed by the fertilization process, during which pollen grains released from the microsporangium are carried by air currents and come in contact with the micropyle, an opening in the ovules. A pollen tube sprouts from the pollen grain and grows towards the archegonium, where it discharges the male gametes. These gametes fuse with the egg to form a zygote. Post-fertilization, the zygote develops into an embryo and the ovule into a seed. Interestingly, gymnosperms were the first plants to have a seed habit. Today, gymnosperms are widely used to make products such as varnish and cosmetics. They also provide us with lumber that's used to make furniture.
So I think it was a elaborate video. Any doubts, anyone from this part?
Ma'am? No, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
मैम आर्किगोनिया जो है वो मेल है या फिर फीमेल है?
Archegonia is female, obviously, beta.
ओके मैम.
Antheridium is male.
हाँ मैम, वो थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन हो गया था, वो ए
अच्छा,
था ना.
Anything else? Any other?
मैम
Yes, beta.
मैम वो मुझे टेक्सा का डेफिनेशन पता नहीं चल रहा था.
Taxa ka definition. No, let us first discuss about doubts if you have regarding gymnosperm only. अभी जो वीडियो मैंने आपको दिखाया, do you have any doubt regarding that? First, you tell me that. Any doubts regarding that?
No, ma'am.
So I wish to share a few other videos also. I am 100% sure you are going to enjoy looking into them because they will give you more elaborate ideas about the reproductive part of the gymnosperm. So let me share one by one. Is the screen visible, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Found all over the northern hemisphere. A pine is a common conifer found all over the northern hemisphere. It can be used as a model for the seed production process in all gymnosperms. The adult sporophyte, the pine tree, develops male and female cones on separate branches. Female cones develop 2 ovules on the upper surface of each cone scale. Each ovule contains haploid megaspores. Male cones produce microspores by meiosis. The microspores develop into pollen grains. Each winged pollen grain is a 4-celled male gametophyte. The female gametophyte grows, producing 2 or more archegonia, each of which contains an egg. During pollination, a wind-borne pollen grain falls near the opening in one of the ovules of the female cone. Each male gametophyte forms a pollen tube that penetrates the tissue of the female gametophyte. When the pollen tube has grown into the archegonium, a sperm cell from the male gametophyte fertilizes the egg. The zygote develops into an embryo and a mature seed is produced. The female cone opens, releasing the seeds. When conditions are favorable, the seed germinates into a new, young sporophyte, a pine tree seedling.
So this video talked clearly about the alternation of generation. One more, the last one. Is the screen visible? I think I need to reshare.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are seed-bearing plants. Gymnus means naked. Sperma means seed. The ovules are not exposed by ovary wall and remain exposed. Thus, they occupy intermediate position between pteridophytes and angiosperms. Gymnosperms are the primitive seed plants. Gymnosperms are characterized by the following features. 1. Most of the genera are entirely extinct and only few are living. 2. Generally, the gymnosperms are xerophytes. 3. They are predominantly woody plants. Few are climbers. 4. The sporophytic plant is evergreen. The tallest living gymnosperms is Sequoia. 5. The roots are generally tap roots. Roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza, pinus, while in Cycas, the roots are called coralloid roots and associated with ento-fixing cyanobacteria. 6. The stems are unbranched, Cycas, branched, Pinus. 7. The leaves may be simple or compound, Cycas, pinnate leaves. The leaves are well adapted to withstand extremes of temperature, humidity, and wind. Conifers, needle-like leaves reduce the surface area. Thick cuticle and sunken stomata reduce water loss. 8. Gymnosperms are heteroporous. They produce haploid microspores and megaspores. The spores produced within sporangia are arranged spirally along an axis to form compact strobili or cones. The strobili bearing microsporophylls and microporangia are called male strobili. The microspores develop into male gametophyte, which is reduced, called pollen grain. The development of pollen grain takes place within the microsporangia. The cones bearing megasporophylls with ovules are called female strobili. The ovules borne on megasporophylls may be clustered to form female cones. Megaspore mother cell divides meiotically to form 4 megaspores. One of the megaspore enclosed within the megasporangium develops into female gametophyte that bears 2 or more archegonia of female sex organs. The female gametophyte is also retained within megasporangium. The gametophytes remain within the sporangia, retained on the sporophytes. The pollen grain is released from the microsporophytes. They are carried by air currents and come in contact with the opening of the ovules borne on the megasporophylls. The pollen tube carrying the male gametes grow towards archegonia in the ovules and discharge their contents near the mouth of archegonia. After fertilization, zygote develops into an embryo and ovules into seeds. Seeds are exposed.
સર્ફ એક્સેલનું મોટું પેક એટલે મોટો ફાયદો.
So I guess we had enough revision to understand the concept of gymnosperm. I don't think
मैम
doubt is there. Yes, beta.
मैम वो ज़ेरोफाइट्स क्या होते हैं वो एक बार फिर से बताओ ना.
They can maintain their lives in less water quantity. They don't require that much water to survive.
तो फिर मैम उनमें लॉस ऑफ वाटर भी कम ही होगा ना, क्योंकि पानी उनके पास
That's
कम
why
होता
they
है।
have sunken stomata, isn't it?
ओके मैम।
है ना?
यस मैम।
Any other doubt? Someone was talking about taxon. Any other doubt related to gymnosperm?
No, ma'am.
So in our next lecture, we will finish up angiosperm and this chapter will be over. And maybe from next week, we will start with the animal kingdom classification. Okay. So, yes, beta, someone was asking me something about taxon.
हाँ मैम, वो टैक्सा की डेफिनेशन पता नहीं चल रही थी।
Is the smallest unit of taxonomy. You have any doubt? Taxon means it is the smallest designation that is possible. Taxonomic categories and taxa, these are two different things. Have you observed my first lecture of that chapter?
यस मैम।
What exactly is the doubt that I just want to know?
मैम एक्चुअली मैंने नोट्स लिखे थे, आपकी जो स्लाइड्स थी ना आपने शेयर की जिसमें आप एक्सप्लेन कर रहे थे, वो मैं पढ़ रही थी मैम, उसमें पता नहीं चल रहा था टैक्सन।
You can understand it with an example, beta. That, for example, taxon, species is a taxon. Okay. Species is a taxon.
मैम उसमें वो स्मॉलेस्ट यूनिट लिखा हुआ था ना, इससे पता नहीं चला कि यूनिट मतलब कौन सा यूनिट।
Taxonomy का unit. If you are
मतलब
not
genus
mentioning
की-
species, let me tell you. When we are talking about taxonomic categories, species, अगर species कौन से organism का है वो आपने mention नहीं किया, then it is a taxonomic category. Species altogether is a taxonomic category. But if I am saying that, for example, today we learned about Brassica campestris, no? So if I am mentioning campestris, it is a taxon.
मैम मतलब जो स्पीशीज होती है वो टैक्सन ही है ना?
Species is the broad name which doesn't have specification. Everyone can have species. Species को जब definite name दे दिया जाता है, that is called taxon.
ओके मैम, गॉट इट।
ओके मैम, यस मैम।
Okay, so I guess we can close the lecture.
मैम
Today,
कल क्लास कौन सी चैप्टर की है?
हम 5 kingdom classification की ले लेते हैं. First chapter too is a very easy one. I don't think any quizzes required for that.
मैम मींस पूरा सेकंड चैप्टर?
पूरा second chapter है ना? क्योंकि परसों आप लोगों की टेस्ट है ना शायद रिटर्न वाली.
यस
Got the syllabus, I guess.
यस मैम।
Okay.
यस मैम।
Okay, then bye to all of you. Beta, good night.
मैम
Yes, बोलो बेटा.
मैम और मैम जो टेक्सोनॉमी जो ब्रांच है वो और मैम जो सिस्टमैटिक्स है, मैम सिस्टमैटिक्स से ज्यादा डाइवर्स है ना टेक्सोनॉमी से?
Systematics के अंडर taxonomy. Yes.
ओके मैम, थैंक
मैम
यू।
ये जो माइकोराइजा होते हैं वो लाइकन्स है ना?
नहीं, they are fungus. Mycorrhiza is a type of fungus, beta, like it only.
ओके मैम।
Anything else you want to ask, beta?
नो मैम।
Okay. Bye. Bye. Good night.